Hi! Do you know what being in your 30s means? It means waking up, your alarm goes off, and you reach over to turn it off, and you get a massive twinge in your neck, and now you can't turn your head for the rest of the day. That's what 30 means. I'm not gonna let that stop me though, because March is amazing. This is such a good month for great releases. Every book I have to talk about here is an absolute banger. Now, as always happens when I do these videos, there are two books that I have missed out from February. These two books came out recently, and I need to talk about them. This is a very cool collection of stories, which I really meant to try and get through in February and even dedicate a video to, but I just didn't manage to. This is called Something Strange Like Hunger. It's a short story collection by Moroccan author Malika Moustadraf. She is no longer with us, I believe, but she was an absolute feminist icon in Moroccan literature, and what we have here are a collection of stories from the margins. These are stories about women from the edges of society, women that are often looked down on or oppressed, single mothers, struggling sex workers, and I believe there is even a story about a trans woman, I think. I can't remember. I read it in the press release and now I can't remember what it said. But I am very excited to read this collection. This is so cool to have a collection of Arabic stories from Morocco by a feminist writer who is writing about women from the margins. This is awesome. This is a book from Charco Press. You probably know how I feel about Charco Press. They are one of my favourite indie publishers on the planet. However, this is a bit of a weird one for me. This is a new book by Ariana Harwicz. This is the third book in her Involuntary trilogy. Now, I read the first book in this trilogy, Die My Love. That was actually the first book published by Charco that I ever read. But I didn't read the second one, Feeble Minded. And now I've got the third one, Tender. And I'm not sure if this Involuntary trilogy actually is a trilogy in terms of chronology. Do I have to read Feeble Minded? Are they a trilogy in terms of themes and ideas? I'm not entirely sure. So I think I'm going to have to reread Die My Love, read Feeble Minded, and then read this. But if you've read the first two, then you're going to need to check this out. And if you haven't read Die My Love, please do that. That was my introduction to the books published by Charco. Ariana Harwicz is incredible. And this is co-translated by Annie McDermott, a translator I love, and Carolina Orloff, who is an absolute sweetheart. She is the co-founder of Charco Press. She's awesome. I love her. I love them both. I love all of this. Please read it. And please read Die My Love. Now, these are the books that I was most excited to talk about. These are the books that I kept thinking about. These are basically the reason I'm making this video. I can't even think and talk straight. Okay. The day this video goes up is March 4th. The day that I'm recording it right now is March 3rd. March 3rd is World Book Day, or as I just found out, British Book Day, because this is the only country that celebrates World Book Day on this day, so it's not world at all. But it is also the day that these two books come out. So, when you're watching this, these books came out yesterday, if you watch it on the day it came out. I'm stumbling. I'm so excited. Okay, so this is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. This is her debut novel, but she has been lauded and celebrated and loved for her short story collection, Salt Slow. And this is... Okay, I've started it. I'm about 50 pages in, which is about a quarter of the way. It's like 200 pages. It's a gothic, queer, lesbian, romance, Lovecraftian, fairy tale thing. It's so good. I will be dedicating my next video to a review of this, followed by a review of this as well. So, Our Wives Under the Sea tells the story of a lesbian couple living in the UK. One of them has just come back from an expedition on a submarine. The expedition was supposed to be a few weeks long. Something went terribly wrong, and it ended up being 6 months. She was just gone for 6 months. She comes home, and from the perspective of her wife, she's not okay. So the wife who stayed at home is Miri, and Miri is looking at her wife Leah, who came home in pieces. Leah has been home now for about 3 weeks. She's not speaking coherently. She is bleeding from her skin and her gums, and she is doing very, very strange things like running the bath right until it overflows and then sticking her head in it. And then we flip back to Leah's chapters about what happened on the submarine as they sank deeper and deeper and deeper into the depths of the ocean. It's so beautifully written. I'm not going to say any more because I'm doing a video on it soon and I haven't actually finished it yet. The other book that is now out and I need you to read, even though I haven't read it yet myself, is The Doloriad. This is by Missouri Williams, a British author, and published by Dead Ink Books. I'm going to read the blurb because I haven't read it yet and I'm very excited. In the wake of a mysterious environmental cataclysm that has wiped out the rest of humanity, a family descended from incest cling to existence on the edges of a ruined city. The family is mercilessly ruled by the matriarch, who dreams of starting humanity over. Her children and the children they have with one another aren't so sure. I'll stop there. Check it out. Go on Dead Ink's website. Support them. Buy this book. It's out now in the UK. Oh, I can't wait. I will be doing a review of this very soon next week. Look forward to that. So those are the two books that I am very, very, very excited to talk about, to review. I really can't wait, but I do have more. While I think of it, and in case I forget, there is actually a book that's out now in the US that I can't wait to read, but it's not out in the UK until June, I think, and that is Scattered All Over the Earth by Yoko Tawada, and I think it's translated by Margaret Mitsutani. Hi, Snowy. You want to join me? Yeah? Oh, she ran away. Scattered All Over the Earth is the new novel by Yoko Tawada. She wrote The Last Children of Tokyo, which I think in the US is called The Emissary. She also wrote Memoirs of a Polar Bear. She is a Japanese author who's based in Germany and sometimes writes in German, sometimes writes in Japanese. And it's about climate refugees. It's about a woman who escapes Japan, which has now sunk, and she's living in Denmark, and she's teaching a new language that she's created that all refugees can easily communicate in. And that's all I know about it, but I'm really excited for it. If you're in the US or Canada, you can get it now. I'm going to try and get a review copy. Next is Paradais. I'm actually not sure what day this comes out. It might already be out. I'm not sure. This is the new novel by Fernanda Melchor. I said in a video like years ago when I talked about her absolute masterpiece, Hurricane Season, I think I called her Melchor, and apparently it's Melchor, I don't know. Anyway, Fernanda Melchor is a Mexican writer. Hurricane Season is a masterpiece. It is a terrifying, horrible, difficult novel that I need you to read, and Paradais is a new book by her, also published by Fitzcarraldo Editions. I am very excited to read this. I will probably do a review of it because I love what she does, and I still think about Hurricane Season on like a weekly basis. I was living in like a really dingy, cold flat in Romania when I read that book in the middle of winter. It was quite a setting to read that book in, and now I'm going to read Paradais, and I don't know anything about it, but she's wonderful. Fitzcarraldo are wonderful. This is going to be good. A new book by Tilted X's Press. This is always a very exciting event. This is actually out at the very, very end of March, the 31st, and it is a collection of Indian short stories by author Gogu Shyamala, who I have never read before. The stories are translated from Telugu, and they are stories of childhood in rural India. A young girl is sent away to school to save her from being declared the sexual property of the village's upper caste men. The village water tank laments to a passing child. A Brahmin boy is considered polluted by the touch of a Dalit girl, the same action that saved his life. These all sound really, really great, and it's a lovely short collection of short stories. I have been reading an increasing number of books, and especially short story collections from India recently, and I've been loving everything I've read, so I am very, very excited to check this out. I may also do a review of this, because this is such a good month for fantastic fiction from independent press, from small British writers, from translated authors from around the world. March is a really, really good month for the exact kinds of literature that I love and try to promote, and I want to do a review of everything I get my hands on. Finally, we have a big and beautiful, fantastical, magical realism thing. This book comes to us from Orbit. It is also out at the very end of the month on the 31st, so pretty much everything I've talked about here either came out in February, came out at the very beginning of March, or is out at the very end of March. And this is Wild and Wicked Things. I think this is Francesca May's debut novel, but I'm not sure. It's definitely the first book from her that I've read. And this is what the blurb says. On Crow Island, people whisper. Real magic lurks just below the surface. But when Annie Mason arrives at this idyllic summer getaway, she never expects to discover her enigmatic new neighbour is a witch. When she witnesses a confrontation between her best friend Bee and the infamous Emmeline Delacroix at one of Crow Island's extravagant parties, she is drawn into a glittering, haunted world. A world where the boundaries of wickedness are tested and the cost of illicit blood bargains might be death. It really sounds like my kind of thing. It also sounds potentially YA, and I don't love YA, so it really depends on how it's written and how the themes are explored. That'll kind of sell it or not to me. But I've read a lot of witchy books, I've done videos on witchy books, and if a book has witches in it and is written by a woman who isn't transphobic, then hopefully I'm going to really enjoy it. We'll see. Okay, that was 8 books, 2 from February, 6 from March. I know months. I know months. I really hope you're as excited as I am for these books. Our Wives Under the Sea and the Doloriad are my 2 most anticipated books of this month. And honestly, Our Wives Under the Sea is one of my most anticipated books of this year. I actually can't think of one I'm more excited for. Oh no, wait. Sayaka Murata and Miyako Kawakami both have books out this year. Okay. Anyway, this is a good month. This is a really, really good month. This has been a fun video to make. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe for books.